This, ladies and gentlemen, is my 2016 BMW M5 purchased from auction. Now, as you can see, there's no signs of any crazy body panel damages or anything like that. It hasn't been totaled out, but it does have one issue. I'd been occasionally looking for an M5 or M6 for a while, but every car I found either had high miles or was salvaged and severely crashed. Then I found this 2016 M5. The listing only said mechanical damage, but it also said run and drive, which definitely got my attention. Going through the pictures, the car looked really clean. The auction had even been keeping it inside under some sort of roof. Other than a few interior pieces that needed some attention, it looked like a really solid car. Then I noticed it only had 74,000 miles, but then I spotted something that got me even more excited. The cluster showed the engine sitting at around 1200 RPMs, while the coolant temperature was still stone cold. That meant the car had literally just been started, and despite whatever mechanical issues it had, it turns over and the car runs. And then something even better, a clean title. At this point, it almost looked too good to be true. There you guys go, that's what rod knock sounds like. So, spun bearings on this thing. This is the last year BMW produced the F10 M5, and somehow over a decade later it still feels like it was built ahead of its time. Under the hood is a 4.4 liter twin turbocharged V8 producing 560 horsepower paired with the lightning fast 7-speed dual clutch transmission. It was a combination that made this one of the quickest sedans on the road. On one hand, it's a comfortable family sedan with 4 doors and a spacious interior and enough practicality to drive every single day. On the other, it's a car that'll pin you to your seat the moment you put your foot down, with the 0 to 60 time in just 4 seconds. And that's exactly why, even all these years later, the F10 M5 is still one of the greatest performance sedans BMW has ever built. So I did it. The car was finally here, and honestly, seeing it in person made me like it even more. The pictures already looked good, but in real life it was even cleaner. The paint popped, the color stood out, and even sitting there on the transport truck, the thing immediately grabs your attention. The guy told me he drove it on and that all it needs is a jump pack to start it and it will be ready to drive off. After hearing the car run, I had a good idea what the issue might be. It did sound pretty good regardless though. After getting it unloaded, I had to keep it at a friend's house for quite some time because I had one car that I needed to finish. Eventually, I did get it over to my house. Wanted to start it, show you guys what's wrong, but of course, battery's dead. Well, if you guys haven't figured it out yet, the car is blown up. Yeah, we're gonna do a rebuild in my garage. So we've done a couple of them here. This is just a bit of a funner build, I'd say. So we're gonna start tearing it apart. I already knew the engine was toast. Replacing it with another used engine would have been the easy way out. But with these cars, there's always a chance the replacement motor has hidden issues or is only one good beating away from ending up in the exact same situation as this one. Should be interesting, should be a fun car after it's done. I do have something planned while the motor's out. We'll pop these in. The car is knocking, it's not seized, the motor does turn over, it runs. I'm not sure if you guys are too familiar with these engines or even the N6. This one has the S63 in. The N63 is coming like 650s, 750s, 550i's. They are the same 4.4 twin turbo liter V8, but a lot of them do spin rod bearings, and that's kind of what they're known for. Not really sure if that's because of how people maintain them, or if it is, people say it is a faulty milling or engineering of the engine block, or the oil galleries are too restrictive or whatever, and they do cause the bearings to fail prematurely. I've had a friend that had one with like 130k miles, and his was a 550i, and I don't know, that thing drove to like 100, like I said, 130,000 miles, and he just did oil changes every 5k. He wasn't the first owner, so who knows who and how it was maintained before. That really left me with just one option: tear this engine down all the way to the bare block, find out exactly what failed, and rebuild it myself. The only problem? I'd be doing all of it in a tiny garage with barely enough room to work around the car. Pulling a twin turbo V8 is hard enough. Completely tearing one apart, keeping track of hundreds of parts, measuring everything and putting it back together without making a single mistake, that's a whole different challenge. At this point, there was no turning back. Someone argued that you can't rebuild a motor like this, it's too messed up, but we'll see. First, we're gonna check what the cylinders look like, if the walls are scored severely, or, you know, I'm hoping it's not, because I don't really feel like sleeving the motor. You can't even hone these cylinder walls just because they are made out of a special aluminum compound or something like that. So honing is not an option, and cylinder sleeving is going to come out expensive. I don't really plan on making a ton of power with this. I just want some downpipes and, you know, a reliable bottom end. I mean, maybe those two things don't belong together, BMW and reliable, but before I even bought the car, I already had a pretty good idea of what the problem might be. High performance German cars are incredible when they're healthy, but these in particular are known for rod bearing wear over time, especially if they haven't been maintained properly or lived a hard life. Unfortunately, replacing rod bearings is one of those jobs that a lot of owners put off. It's expensive, it's preventative, and by the time the symptoms start showing, it's often already too late. So what we're gonna do today, like I said earlier, I'll prep the front end for removal as much as possible. I mean, look at this, you have seals behind plastics on top of plastics. It's a lot of stuff. You guys are gonna see how much more space, how much the front end opens. You might think I don't have anywhere to pull the engine out, but think about it as this whole, what is it, about a foot of front end will be dismantled and put out on a side, so there's gonna be a lot of space. One thing I'm curious to see is the air filters, or is the air filters on this car. A lot of people neglect replacing their intake air filters, but they do a lot of work, man. I'll show you. I mean, I'm hoping they're not too bad, but they build up this, they do filter out this grittiness or sand that prevent from entering your turbos. I mean, those, if you don't replace your intakes on time, they do. I mean, a filter can only clean out so much, so over time it does start sucking stuff through, and it starts drastically ruining the life of your turbos. It's like trying to swallow while choking, you know. It doesn't work. Before I can tear the motor out, there's a lot of work ahead. The entire front end has to come apart. The bumper, headlights, radiator support, cooling system, pretty much everything standing between me and the engine has to be removed. After everything up front is off, only then can I start disconnecting the wiring, fuel lines, exhaust, drivetrain, and everything else holding this twin turbo V8 in place. It's a massive job, and this is only the beginning. So we got both the fender liners out, the front forward ones. We're going to take out the front bumper first. I mean, it is pretty simple, just a bunch of 8mm. This side's already good to go. This side of fender liners is out as well. More 8mm. There we go. couple connectors I gotta unplug. We'll check underneath real quick. On top there's a bunch of T30s holding this in place. Might have one connector here. Pinch and pull. Like so. This side also, by the looks of it, I don't even think it has a connector, to be honest. Loosen these T30s. I'll leave one in just in case it decides to fall. Ready? I like to use a bucket. See if I can figure this release out. There we go. You gonna spill? Actually, I don't even need to take that off for. Oh, I did because the jets are in the bumper. See if anything's holding it as we come off. Oh, I see. There's a little bit of damage or something. As you could see, this is warped a little bit. Another thing that BMW does, I don't understand, is these oil coolers on the bottom. Like they're prone to damage even if you scrape something or hit like road debris or something like that. Underneath is an oil cooler, and as you can see, it is pretty banged up. It's not leaking, thankfully, but it is a very stupid spot, in my opinion, to place an oil cooler. There we go. Oh, what was that? Look at that, boys. It's been painted before. And we have harness damage. It did have a few minor accidents on record. I was aware buying the car had a couple accidents, but to be fair, all of the M's I've ever ran on auction or even privately on Facebook, all of them have multiple owners and multiple accidents. So I wasn't too scared of that. Plus visually, on pictures it looked fine. I mean, there's been cars where I've been where I got messed up because the pictures weren't accurate or they weren't what the car wasn't what it's supposed to be. But hey, it is what it is. You're gambling on auction. This is all easy stuff to fix. At this point, we have come to find out that the car has been repaired before. The bumper harness had clearly been damaged. Hopefully that's where it ends. The last thing I want to find is further damage on the car, or even worse, structural damage that wasn't obvious from the auction photos. I'm used to work. All the cars I've ever taken apart, they're always part of the bumper. So that's why this will be a repair for the future. We'll look over everything here. This side is okay. Plus headlights look fine. None of the mounting points look damaged. The bash bar looks fine unless it's been replaced. I think it might have just been a regular fender bender that might have messed up some of this stuff. And the underbody panel damage I had. Take a look underneath. I mean, the underneath is secured pretty. It's built securely, I'd say. There's nothing too exposed or anything like that. Oil pan's right there, trans pan is all the way over there. But no signs of any leaks or anything like that, nothing, which is pretty uncommon, I'd say, for, you know, 10-year-old BMW. Everything underneath is okay. Exhaust isn't too banged up. I kept thinking I had the competition package, but someone I reached out to actually informed me that there was no comps this model year, so it does have some sort of, I found somewhere I was reading a while ago that it does have like it's not the same competition where they badge, not like the new F90s where they badge comp all over. This one just came with way bigger exhaust. The wheels, has different suspension, and this tuned to like 10 horsepower more than the regular F10. So that is pretty cool. That is why I jumped on it. I did get kind of fooled though, because I did think it was an actual competition, and I thought they do badge them as comps, but I guess they don't. The badge does look pretty cool. That's a spider. I'm messing up someone's home. Sir, you have been evicted. Now, taking a better look underneath definitely gave me a little more confidence. I wasn't seeing any obvious damages, and more importantly, there were no major oil or coolant leaks anywhere. First things first, take off the shroud. Okay, that's the jackpot I was looking for. God, my ears are ringing, man. This is pretty dry. Like I said, this isn't too banged up, which I'm very happy about. Couple eights from the fender liner. Oh no, is this holding it together? Oh shit. It's not. We'll be spending a lot of time underneath on these height levels. Oh, this joint is heavy. Motherfucker's heavy, man. Nothing too crazy, pretty dry, boys. Sprung this brand new oil, it's pretty clean. But everything underneath seems okay. Mounts don't seem to be leaking. Steering rack is okay. These trans coolers, it's oil cooler lines are okay. A little bit maybe from the upper oil pan, but that's gonna get resealed anyways. But there you guys go. It's 74,000 miles on a S63 engine. Like I said, I mean, my assumption is it was probably driven pretty hard, the beat not really taken care of, but I may be wrong. And then we'll go ahead, drain the oil, or maybe even take the pan off so I could show you what that looks like. My assumption, like I said earlier, a lot of copper shavings. The fastest way to learn and see how bad the engine is internally is by checking the oil and oil filter. If the bearings had failed, there was a good chance we'd find tons of metal in the engine's lubrication system. To get a clean pan, so we can see all the fun stuff that comes out of this oil pan. Open our oil fill so we have better drainage. Let's see, 17. Yes, sir. Oh man, I don't even want to look. Oh boy, gonna come rushing out. Come on. What? What? They did oil change, bro. Boys, that's... Boys, that's so clean, bro. Nah, there's definitely some stuff to definitely... Them boys did an oil change before, is my guess. To diagnose, at least to check the oil probably, and then filled it with new, and that's when it got totaled. Or not really totaled, but sent off to auction. A lot of glittery bronze bearing material. It's not as bad because they did change the oil, but like I said, there's definitely, I'm gonna take the oil pan off. It'll be a lot worse in there. Same thing with the oil filter. I'll crack open the oil filter, see what that's looking like. But I was expecting dirty oil, really black burnt, glittery, shiny oil. That's why it probably isn't seized yet. That's why it still runs. Wow, that surprised me. We'll take off the oil level sensor. I bet you there's more. It is pretty shiny, but it's still not. That'll be a lot worse. Now it pains me to do this, but I don't have an oil filter socket kit, nor the one for the BMW, because I have everything at work. So we're gonna grip them with these things. I don't advise you guys do this because you might crack the housing. Someone's been in here, as you can see. I mean, obviously it's a common area to get to. Oh, there we go. Moment of truth, boys. No, I didn't scan for faults, to be honest. I should have checked if we had any oil pressure fault, but there was no. It's only a drivetrain malfunction. Oh, filter looks new as well. Look at that. See all that shiny stuff?
Not really. Oh yeah.
Let me shut this so do Dominic. Leave the camera on top because I gotta come out. Give me a rag. There we go. You guys see all that? Now at this point it's pretty clear somebody had recently changed the oil and filter, and that may have actually saved the engine from completely locking up. I'm not sure how well you guys can see that on camera, but been caught by that old filter. But fresh oil can't repair worn or destroyed components, but it can buy the engine just a little bit more time by improving lubrication and flushing out at least some of the metal debris that would have otherwise continued circulating throughout the engine. Once we take the oil pan off, so?
Sure.
Fuck that, the engine's gotta come out anyway, so. Yeah, much. And with that being said, we're not going to waste any more time dropping the lower oil pan. Instead, it's time to start getting access to the front face of the engine. Look at that, how do we get that pulled? All the way over there. There we go, there's one. Right on. Okay, yes. Video. Number 2. You guys can see this harness is part of the car. So we're going to swing the harness to the side so the whole front end assembly can't come off. So we'll work on this. Now when I say we're removing the front end, I don't mean taking every single part off one by one. On most modern vehicles, you're actually able to remove the entire front clip as one complete assembly. That includes the radiator support, condenser, radiator itself, cooling fans, crash bar, and a few other components. Look at that paint job. Nice overspray. Can't even see. Why do you make a connector that's right here? How are you supposed to... Oh, there's going to be coolant or some sort of oil. Maybe it's a trans coolant. Coolant. Not sure if anything will come out here. A little bit. Very bit. When you guys unclip these, make sure they don't go flying, because once they go flying, you're not... Good luck finding them. There we go. Nice and dry. Oil cooler's got to get drained underneath. Scares it from flying out. Come on. Almost there. Yeah, I was right. They're gonna come flying out. Yeah, man. Welcome to the garage. Oh, look at that! Someone thought about something. Latch for the hood release. Quick little disconnect. Take away. These coolant pipes turn real brittle and like to break over time just due to heat, and because they use cheap plastic. I want to say cheap, but the plastic just hardens and cracks over time. We have fan. These big connectors are always your radiator fans. Just because they draw a lot of amperage, so they do need thicker wire, like so. This is part of the shroud. You do have an upper and lower radiator hose. You have AC lines. You need to drain your AC first before popping those off, otherwise it's a bad day. Now, I've never actually taken apart the front end of one of these cars before, but honestly, you don't need to know where every single bolt is before you start. It might look intimidating if you've never done something like this before, but after you've taken apart enough cars, you can almost instantly tell which parts come off together and which ones are meant to stay in place. At that point, it becomes less about following a manual and more about understanding how the car was put together in the first place. This 10mm holds it in, or 13 holds it to the actual subframe, so you're not able to swing any of this without removing that first. Just binding up. The front end is moving. The reason I'm doing this is so I can have as much space as possible to remove all the hoses and stuff like that, because there's some I can't even reach. But I'm gonna do L for left. You gotta make sure not to damage these rails. The fins in the middle are okay, as you can see they always get damaged, but the thicker rails, that's where the coolant flows, or oil, or whatever radiator or cooler you do have. So whenever this, or condenser even, whenever these gets damaged, you got a leak. Well, like I said, that clip almost went flying. There we go. Now we got two more hoses. Oh man. Fuck. The intercoolers on these have their own individual coolant circuit. They are cooled via coolant, not by air like traditionally. So they have these two little pumps for each intercooler, I'm pretty sure. One on this side and one on that side. Take this off. I'll get some coolant off. Or not. This will come off too. This, like I said, we're gonna cut over here. I'm gonna use a hose cut. There's a matter of time when it stops. Okay, let's go over. There we go. Okay, what we have left is I'm slowly beginning able to swing this thing. I think I'm going to take off this additional pump first, so I can fully swing and get one of those transcooler connections off here, because I managed to get one, but this one I can't. If you've taken these off, you know how much of a pain in the ass they are. Okay. Well, as you guys can see, front end is removed. Take a look at this shit. Look at all this. These cars have the most complex cooling system I think I've ever worked on top of the largest engine harness I've ever seen. So everything will be dropped with the motor. Obviously the subframe will be lowered with the engine, with the trans and everything. And then we'll get to see how bad the bottom end is damaged. I think we gotta take the intakes off now. at least take those off because they kind of sit into the frame. So we'll pop that off. Oh, look at that, it's already loose. Why? We might be purchasing some front mount intakes. So I'm pretty sure they just run through here and they just sit behind the grill. But we'll see if it's it'll be worth it. Crack these open in just a second to see what the filters look like. See what kind of maintenance was done to this car. Not like the intake alone is going to show much of that, but could always get a good idea. Oh, this one's loose too. Okay. Boom, looking more like it's ready to come out, even though we're nowhere close. It's okay. God, so much shit on this engine, man. Now that there's actually room to work, I can stop fighting the car and start focusing on the next steps. With everything stripped down like this, you really start to appreciate just how much engineering went into building these cars. After all, about 10 years ago, one of these carried a sticker price of a little over 100,000. And if you've ever wondered why servicing one of these cars is so expensive, I hope this gives you a better idea. Let's take a peek at these intake air filters. Might give us this thing was taken care of, or the condition of the turbos at least. Oh, not too bad. These are aftermarket, I think, maybe. Hey, look at that AFE. Sometimes filters will come dated, especially from factory. That way it indicates the last time it's been replaced or how long it's been in the car, you know. If you shake them out, there's sometimes a bunch of grit that comes out of these. Yeah, not too bad. Look at that. Papa Roach.
I didn't know what it was.
That's the stuff I was talking about. Look at all that. Now, it's time to do something I probably should have done from the very beginning. Unfortunately, the battery kept dying, so I couldn't keep the ignition on for more than a minute at a time. I'm finally scanning the entire car using BMW's dealer-level diagnostic software. Unlike a basic scan tool, this can communicate with every control module on the vehicle. It also gives me access to dealer-level functions like service procedures, teach-in, adaptions, calibrations, and factory diagnostics. German manufacturers are also known for storing faults in individual control units that many generic scan tools just simply won't detect. Hopefully all we find are misfire related faults or oil pressure faults and nothing more. Because if this scan tool comes back with unexpected control unit failures or electrical faults, this project could end up being a whole lot bigger than I originally expected, and packed with even more surprises. Let's scan it to see what previous codes we had. Here we go, it gives you this topology once it's done scanning everything. Topology of every control unit. Click display fault memory. Combustion fire, several cylinders detected. Oh shit, there's a lot of faults. Cylinder 1, 4, 6, 7. So we have misfires on multiple cylinders. Electrical fan, that's because it's open. Coolant pump, I opened it. Servotronic button, that's stuff for the inside. Power management, low battery stuff. I'm really surprised there's no timing issues or anything like that, or timing faults regarding actuators. But as we saw, the oil was drained, new filter was in, and oil flush was performed. Maybe it got majority of the oil shavings out, and you know, as it was running, it kind of cleared stuff up. So, or maybe it isn't so bad. We'll see. I've had the N63, the 550 and 750 motors, where there's no rod bearings left at all. There's just nothing. We're gonna stop here. Hopefully next episode we're gonna work on, well, we're for sure gonna work on removing the engine, but I don't know if we'll get it out next episode. Depends on, you know, how much time and everything lines up. So we'll see how far we can get with that. If you guys have any recommendations or anything you guys want to see different, yeah, let me know. Leave a comment down below, like, subscribe, do all that fun stuff, whatever else I'm supposed to say. But yeah, that's it. Thank you guys for watching. Once again, we're not in a professional shop, we're not in a professional setting. I'm just putting my whatever experience I have gathered over the last couple of years, and you know, just trying to do fun shit, fun stuff, and trying new things. Obviously we're limited to the amount of space I can work in, but we'll make it work. I've done it before, we'll do it again. This time I'm just going to document it. It is a bit of a headache trying to get used to it, all this, but we'll see. We'll keep on going, and see you guys in the next one.